Hello, welcome to this DCS A-18C tutorial. In this video, I will cover aerial refueling, some different methods, tips, and tricks. And hopefully this will help you get started with taking on some fuel. To begin with, if you haven't, watch the formation flying video, either in this playlist or the general tutorial playlist. And make sure that you can actually formation fly consistently for, I don't know, at least 5 minutes at a time to guarantee that you will be able to stay in formation with the tanker and be able to take fuel the entire time. All right, so to begin, let's find our way to the tanker. I'll go ahead and open my map. And I want to go to this KC-135 MPRS. If we spectate it, we can see it has the baskets on either wingtip. So on the map, this KC-135 is tanker 2X Shell 11. So knowing that info, I'm going to go to my briefing. Scroll down to the tankers, and I see the 2X Shell 11, the 135 MPRS, is on radio frequency 252. So I'm going to go ahead and open my radio menu, tanker, Shell 11 on 252, intent to refuel. He's going to give us an altitude and a velocity that he's going to be at about. In my experience, it's not going to be 100% accurate, but it'll be close enough. So 22,000 at 300 knots. For now, I'll go ahead and just close out of this radio menu, and let's navigate to him. So he was TAC-IN 2X. So open my TAC-IN, clear, 2, enter, activate my TAC-IN, and now I have a distance and a bearing. This might not always be the case. For some tankers, you might just get a bearing and not a distance. And for this TAC-IN, I am in TR and not AA. As of this date of release of this video, this is how you need to do it for the tanker. If I went into AA, I'm going to actually get a spinning circle and no actual TAC-IN information. So if I take it out of AA, I get my information back. If this ever changes in the future and you see a spinning circle, just try enabling or disabling AA for aircraft TAC-IN and see which works best for you. Currently, I just need to have it in T/R, transmit receive. Alrighty, so he's flying out that way. Now I can either fly to his TAC-IN beacon as normal, or I can be lazy, turn on my altitude autopilot, and turn on coupled. I don't have to put in a course line for it. Just enabling coupled will take me directly to my selected TAC-IN or waypoint, in this case TAC-IN. So it's going to fly me directly towards his aircraft, no matter which way he's turning. So this will help me stay right on a intercept course without having to worry about too much. At this point, I am 28 miles away in closing, so I'm going to pause here and pick up with you when I'm a little bit closer. Alrighty, so I'm about 12 miles in closing. I open up my controls indicator for you. I'm going to disengage my autopilots, and I'm going to move in formation with the tanker down there. All of the same concepts from the formation flying video apply here. So as long as you're okay with that, you should be okay here. There's just going to be the added component of nerves of the basket. But if you just consider it formation flying in a certain position with the other aircraft, you don't even have to worry about the basket. Same thing as formation flying. We want to stay out of their engine jet wash. So I'm either going to come in slightly off to the side or below him. I'm going to come in below him for this example. And as you saw in our radio menu after we said we were inbound to refuel, we have the option for ready pre-contact. We need to get fairly close to the enemy tanker or allied tanker, and also in a good position before we radio pre-contact, so he will say cleared contact and we're actually able to refuel. Currently, the baskets are pulled into the aircraft. We need to successfully ready pre-contact for him to extend them for us. So here, I'm going to extend my refueling probe. I have it on a keybind, but you can also do it with this switch here. And I have a fuel bag on my aircraft, which is currently empty. The refueling will fill our plane and any fuel tanks we have. Now, many people will watch their speed as they're refueling and try and keep it pegged to a certain number. If you feel comfortable, just like formation, you can ignore the speed and just rely on the actual tanker itself for your cues on whether or not you need to speed up or slow down. I'll show you one trick with the basket and the line connecting it to the tanker. That'll also help you know whether or not you need to slow down or speed up. So at this point, I'm just creeping in. There's no rush. It's all just slow as smooth, smooth as fast, nice and steady. No rush whatsoever. If you ever find yourself getting frustrated or tensing up, just roll your shoulders, take a breath, listen to some music as you do it. This will come with practice. There's no need to rush it. Maybe a small amount of time every day, and eventually you'll get better and better. No sense flying until the point of absolute frustration and trying to push through. Just come back to it later. Now, I'm not going to utilize my speed brake whatsoever, or my rudders. But if you're learning, if you put down your mirrors, you could put your speed brake out just until you see it right over the top of your seat like that. And that will help your throttle give less response. So you can be a bit more drastic in your throttle movements. But your goal should really be to refuel without your speed brake and just get used to the throttle response. Alright, I'm going to creep in a little bit more. And my preferred method is to come in a bit under the aircraft. So I stay out of its engine jet wash. And then once they extend the baskets, then I'll move over to the side. You're actually able to refuel 2 aircraft at once on these basket planes. The first aircraft will always be on the left-hand side, and the second will always be on the right. Alright, so right about here looks good as far as how close I am to ready pre-contact. So I'm going to go ahead and ready pre-contact.
Ready pre-contact. Cleared contact.
I got a cleared contact, and now the basket is extending. So I'm going to go ahead and move over and just creep in. I'm utilizing his aircraft as a reference for my movements. But something that is helpful is there's going to be the star right here on his tanker. And you can actually line that up with about here on your canopy once you're connected to the basket. And if you hold it there, you should be okay. I personally am not utilizing that trick, but that is available for you. Alright, so not utilizing my rudders, just creeping in, keeping my throttle moving constantly. So this is a nice sweet spot, just modulating my throttle up and down. And I'm just going to creep her into the basket. A good tip is to not look at the basket, but look at the actual pod on the wing. that helps some people. Personally, I just look at the basket as I go in, but I have a bit more spatial reference being in VR. Everything looks 3D. But you don't need to do that whatsoever. You can just look at the plane as reference. So everything's nice and easy, small movements, and he's getting into a turn. So always be aware. He won't give you a call out if he's getting into a turn. No worries. Just back off a little bit and then creep back in.
Contact.
All right, contact. So to pay attention to the slack on the line, I like to have a little bit of a drop in the slack. That way, if it starts to go taut, I know I need to speed up. And if it gets too droopy, I know I need to slow down because I'm getting closer. At this point, you just hold it until the refueling is complete. I like to use the plane as reference. I don't even pay attention to the speed. But if you find a speed that works for you, you can go ahead and just hold it there. There's the star that I was talking about. You can line that up with your canopy so it's touching that metal bar, and then you know you're in a good position, sort of like that. That could be a tip as you're learning, but I personally don't pay attention to it. So we can see the line is getting a bit more taut, so I know I need to come in a little bit. And when I'm in, I like to hold it right about here. So it's getting a little droopy. Transfer complete.
Disconnect.
At this point, he says disconnect. I could put my probe in, and I have complete fuel in my aircraft. Once again, this will all come with practice. It's just to give you a general idea of some different techniques you can utilize. Just be aware, you want to avoid the jet wash from the engines because it'll fly you all around. Make life very difficult for you. It's bobbing me all around. And if you disconnect from the probe or you move too far out of formation with it after they've given you the cleared contact, they're going to say return pre-contact, and you'll need to get back behind the tanker and ready pre-contact again. Sometimes if you're lucky, you can ready pre-contact from, say, out here on either the left or the right-hand side and already be in line to refuel when they give you a cleared contact and extend the pod. But I find that being in the center is a more surefire way. Now that I don't have to worry about the probe, I have full fuel. I tried to show it while I was doing the refueling, but I'll show it here again. Utilizing that star, you can kind of keep it, this star right here, in line with the metal part right about here, and that should keep you in a good position for your refueling. As we saw during the refueling, he called out 300 knots as his speed, 22,000, but he's actually up here at 22.6, and he was going about 305 knots. You can pay attention once again to the speed and then try and hold it to wherever it is to the best of your ability. But I find a more reliable method is just pay attention to the plane as if you were doing a formation fly. And it makes it nice and painless like you just saw. Just be aware of if they go in a turn, you're going to have to correct. If something's not going right, there's no harm in just throttling back, slowing down, and then reforming up and going back in. If you find yourself getting panicky and getting into pilot-induced oscillation like this to try and compensate, just take a breath, fall back, regroup, and then go back in. All of your stick movements, as you saw, just in the formation flying video and here, are very, very small. I'm giving it barely any movement off of that center portion. And my throttle was always moving, so if I found right about here was a good speed for my refueling, I was constantly bumping up and down so I could adjust my speed. No rudder. In the turn, I was just like the formation flying, giving it maybe that much. You don't need your rudder whatsoever. It will just lead to inaccuracies. Alrighty, that covers all the basics for aerial refueling. Thanks for watching.